You are watching a master at work.
Today we have up for review a fragrance that I have been chomping at the bit to dissect, analyze, and review for you guys for such a long time. It really is one of my favorites, definitely one of my top compliment getters. I have a love-hate relationship with this one, and all will be explained in this review of Yves Saint Laurent's La Nuit De L'Homme.
I love the nightlife, yes I do, it's so much fun. And before you know it, here comes the sun. Sweetheart, it's been real, but the thrill is gone. The silence is like a spirit that picked my house to haunt. But I know it's there, so I'm nonchalant. Yet deep inside I need what I want.
Now, before we get into this review, I have to give a forewarning. I am not a fan of pepper in my fragrances, especially black pepper. If pepper is going to be in a fragrance, for me personally, it should be a supporting player, a very minute detail that rounds off the fragrance or gives it, some sort of real to life feel, not a major player. In YSL's La Nuit De L'Homme, pepper, black pepper, is a major and a dominant player in this fragrance. Now, without further ado, let's get into it. So, La Nuit De L'Homme comes from the house of Yves Saint Laurent, very popular fashion designer brand. It is a flanker to the original L'Homme. L'Homme, a bestseller, daytime fragrance, very versatile, works very well in warmer conditions, and this flanker really filled that role of a more sophisticated, nighttime, darker, more sensual, alluring type of fragrance. It was released in March 2009, and there are three perfumiers behind this one. We have the wonderful M. Filippo, the magnificent Pierre Wagner, and the decadent Dominique Ropion. It comes in a variety of offerings. You have the 30 milliliters, the 75 milliliters, the 100 milliliters, and the tank barrel of an offering 200 milliliters. The pricing for this fragrance varies. It's not a very expensive fragrance. It is a designer fragrance, and it comes at designer prices. You can get the 30 milliliters for around $35 US. You can get the 75 milliliters for around $55 US. The 100 milliliters will run you around $70 US, and the 200 milliliters will run you around $110 US. But do your bargain shopping. This one comes heavily discounted and is widely available. Those prices should just be benchmarks for what you should be looking at. Now, the genre for this one is an Oriental Fougere, and I definitely agree with that. It's a warm, woody fragrance with very spicy notes. Very spicy notes. The presentation and the flagon for this one are quite nice. The bottle reminds me of a bolt. So let's go on to the flagon and presentation for La Nuit. So now let's take a look at the flagon and presentation for Yves Saint Laurent's La Nuit De L'Homme. It's quite simple, not too much here to be seen. We got a really nice plain box, not really doing too much. You got YSL up top. You have your barcode and serial number information at the bottom, and some instructions. Don't get burned, don't spray your eyes, don't eat, all that kind of nice stuff. Then you got the flak in itself, which is pretty nice. Really goes with the theme of Night of the Man. You got a black heavy top, gradient bottle. At the bottom, you're gonna have, you know, the matching barcode and serial number information. It's a pretty nice looking bottle. A lot of people who see my collection are quickly drawn to this one. Up top, you have a YSL logo, very nicely done. The top itself is quite heavy. Seems like a sort of metal plastic composite. Very heavy, very nice. You got your sprayer nozzle right there, and it's a pretty good spray. Let's test it out. Very nice. And so there you have it for the bottle and the presentation for Yves Saint Laurent's La Nuit De L'Homme. Now, as I always say, the note breakdown is all fine and dandy, but what does this really smell like? So let's get a spray of this one and let's find out. Wonderful sprayer. Now, I call this one sugar and spice. And when I talk about spice, I don't just mean, you know, the tonka bean, the vanilla, the oriental spices, but it's actually spicy like hot. The black pepper is a major player in this one, and it has what I perceive as a white sugar note. So it's actually just like you mixed pepper and sugar. Quite unique, but in my opinion, it's not a good mix. It seems like no real harmonious accord is formed. The notes are fighting each other. There seems to be a play here on light and dark, a civil war of sorts going on with this fragrance. There is also a minty feel from the cardamom. Obviously, the cardamom is a major player in this one, and the tonka bean and the patchouli give it that darkness and that depth. I feel like this fragrance is not very well blended. I feel like the notes are not well proportioned, and just because it's an EDT, obviously it comes off as synthetic. One thing about this fragrance, though, the smell is very catchy. People notice the smell very quickly, and I think it's because of the heat that comes from the pepper and the cardamom. Just like how pepper will tingle your nose, this fragrance also has that sensation. So if you're in a crowd of a lot of people who are wearing different fragrances, this one would definitely stand out. The first time I smelled this, I was blown away, but just after analyzing and wearing it over and over again and getting more accustomed to it, I began to, you know, poke holes in it, so to speak, and sort of like see the weaknesses in this one. However, I would say that this is a very unique, very nice smell, and is something that a lot of people definitely do enjoy, and I'm sure if you sampled it, you would too. This, believe it or not, is a very safe blind buy. Now, this fragrance, I believe, is a direct response to Paco Rabanne's 1 Million. I believe that the people at YSL saw the success of a night out fragrance, a fragrance specifically designed for going out nighttime, very sweet type of fragrance, and they just wanted to, you know, up the ante, make it a little bit more upscale, make it a little bit more mature, and they came out with this one, and I feel it's very well executed. And if you're someone who likes 1 Million but you find it a little bit too juvenile or not as classy or upscale as you would prefer, then this one would definitely appeal to your senses. Now, this fragrance is definitely a hit with the ladies. I've gotten some of the most amazing compliments wearing this one. I have a love-hate relationship with this fragrance because the note breakdown in this, I mean, it's quite tantalizing. But for me personally, the smell is just not the most exciting to me. I don't feel a lot of love for this one. However, whenever I wear it, people around just seem drawn to it. And it's definitely a winner whenever I go out, for a night out on the town. I call this one a cheat code. Now, if you remember playing video games, Super Nintendo, or the Sega Genesis, Street Fighter, we always used to have those input codes, that were sort of like cheats. It was like a cheap way of winning. And that's what I see this fragrance as. I don't feel it's the highest quality or best fragrance out there. In my opinion, it's quite mediocre, but it's like a cheat code. If I want to get attention, if I want to get compliments, I just use a cheat code.
So what type of value are we getting for the money we spent on La Nuit De L'Homme? Well, in my opinion, it's a cost-effective fragrance that is a top performer. You're going to get amazing longevity and projection out of this one for a decent rate. However, it falls short in terms of the actual scent itself. In comparison to other fragrances within its price range and classification, it actually does come short. However, it seems to be a hit with the ladies. So I would rate this one as a cheap thrill.
Now, I rate this as a cheap thrill in the value analysis, and that's harkening back to the cheat code reference. However, if you would like to take a look at some other bottles that are in this similar theme that you might prefer, or if you like them, you will like this one. Giorgio Armani's Code really is reminiscent of the same theme that this fragrance goes for. A nighttime fragrance, a dark fragrance, a patchouli, tonka bean laden type of fragrance. Also, Givenchy's Play Intense has that darkness to it. Obviously, patchouli is a major player. Angel Men from the Thierry Mugler line is definitely another one. Also, Dior Homme Intense, although they smell nothing alike, I find that they definitely work in the same circumstances. Now, this is one of those cradle to the grave fragrances. There is no age cap and there is no age floor on this one. Anyone of any age can definitely rock this. I would just advise that if you're a lot younger, high school for example, when you wear this, try to dress really nice, no baggy clothes, don't be bumming, make sure everything is fitted, make sure you're looking right. This would definitely up your game. Now, this is a very versatile fragrance in terms of seasonality. I've used this on very hot summer days. I mean, I'm not talking about something above 90 degrees, but in the 80s range, and it performed just okay. It didn't get overtly cloying, didn't choke me out, and it didn't, do too much damage, I would say. Obviously, if you're going to use this in warmer weather, make sure you temper your use of the sprayer. As you can see, very good sprayer, very liberal. So you don't want to be doing too much in warm weather. I would primarily locate this in the fall season for this fragrance. However, works very well in the winter, works very well in the spring, to a lesser extent in the summer, but we perform well cool summer nights and in moderation on warm days. Now, uses and occasions for this one. It's quite tricky. This is marketed as a nighttime fragrance, and I definitely see it being, that kind of night out, nighttime, date night, formal event fragrance. But don't be fooled. It's a lot more versatile than it lets on. I know a lot of people that use this one in the daytime. They use it as a signature scent. and it works. It doesn't come off as too sexual or too out of place. However, it still has that alluring feel to it. So you might want to be careful wearing this to work. You might want to be careful wearing this to class. People may feel like this person is doing a little bit too much. So if you're looking for a versatile, all occasion fragrance, I would advise that you do not look in this direction. This one is really best on a night out, dates, intimate setting. So for versatility, I'm gonna give this one a 7.5 out of 10. It's marketed strictly as a night out, formal dinner dates, type fragrance, and that should give it a low score. However, it's more versatile than it leads you to believe. Therefore, I bump it, up a little bit more, and it gets a 7.5 out of 10. Now, for the scent and compliment factor for this one, whew, oh boy. Personally, I would rate the scent as low. However, a lot of people do enjoy this, individually, and obviously, when someone wears this, a lot of people around them, compliment this one and love this one. So this one's gonna get a 9 out of 10. I can't hate this. It does what the message was. Like this, if you want to get compliments, if that's what you're all about. Enough said. Now for projection, this one is kind of a beast. Don't sleep on this one right here. If you spray too much, you're not gonna like yourself. People are not gonna like you, and it's gonna defeat the purpose of this fragrance. Go very gentle on this. For longevity on this one, I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10. Now it's real spotty with this one. Obviously, it depends on the season. It depends on if you're in an open area, confined spaces, humidity, your clothing items, whatever, all that stuff. Testing this, I've gotten anywhere from 7 hours to 14 hours. As a matter of fact, just trace amounts on the skin, I've gotten 24 hours. This one's very spotty, very unreliable. I've had night outs where I wore this expecting to last the entire night, and 5-6 hours in, it was basically a skin scent. Nobody could smell it. I had to, dig my nose into my hand to get it. So for sillage on this one, this is an eau de toilette. You can't expect some sort of thick mist that's gonna, linger around. It scores a 6 out of 10. The L'Eau Parfum version of this one does address that issue, but that's a story for another day. For uniqueness, in terms of smell, nothing smells like this. But in my opinion, that's not a good thing. I feel like the pepper and the cardamom in this, and that mixed with the sugary spiciness, the sugary sweetness, is just a little bit odd. So for uniqueness, I'm gonna give it a 6.5 out of 10. Because I feel like the uniqueness to this one, it's not necessarily a good thing. Also, it gets that low of a score, an average score, because this is a very common fragrance. It's very accessible, not exorbitantly priced, and it is one in which the top notes, are very captivating. The marketing is obviously on point, so a lot of people use this one. Where I stay, a lot of people use this. If you wear this on a night out, you're gonna smell like someone else, and that to me is very important when it comes to fragrance. Even if it's not your signature fragrance, it should be a signature of you, and this one fails in that department. A 6.5 honestly is a very generous score. This is a very common popular fragrance. So there you have it, the review for La Nuit De L'Homme from the house of Yves Saint Laurent. Very glad I did this. Been a long time coming. I've been wanting to do this so bad. This is a fragrance that I respect. I love it. obviously it has its downsides, like anything in life. It has its upside, like anything in life. And it's one that is going to be my collection for a very, very, very long time. Right now, I'm not madly in love with it, but who knows? Maybe in a couple of years, we'll rekindle the flames, and we'll get romantic again. Now let's go on to an overall rating for La Nuit.
On a personal take, I would rate La Nuit de l'Homme as an average fragrance. However, rating it based on the reactions it elicits from people and on the popularity in terms of sales of this fragrance, I would rate it as a very good fragrance. Therefore, it's only right that I average out the two considerations, giving it a final rating of a 7. La Nuit de l'Homme is a good fragrance that is very worthy of your purchase, especially if you're looking to thrill the crowd and woo the ladies. However, do not expect the highest quality, most pleasant smelling juice.
And I want you to run away with me and experience something